living in the trees. It's two cities and they're only pipes and...
We didn't come up with the union first in America. Who did we borrow it from? I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The labor union movement in the United States of America was borrowed from the Russians. We were a little less violent, or maybe we weren't. But it didn't go as far as the labor unions stopped before they took over the government, probably through negotiations. But if they wouldn't have negotiated, where would it have stopped? Is it eeny, meeny, miny, mo? All right, let's go to Jim and Gary then. Hello, Jim.
Hey, preacher. So, question. Do we the people of the we the people, in order to form a more perfect, what was the word that the founders used?
More perfect union.
Oh, yeah. It's that commie red word. Those commie red founders of our country.
Yeah, I believe that the definition of union, though, I mean, you can start out with number 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're going to find that union and also the union army, etc., and the union labor unions and civil union between a man and a man. You'll find all those definitions. I'm not sure, Jim, that your argument would hold much water in court, because
well, what I'm saying basically is that drawing that same conclusion between the Communist Party and the labor movement in the United States of America is, I mean, I can understand where there have been people from either organization that probably espouse those claims, but the fact of the matter is union members are not communists.
Okay.
I mean, it's just silly to draw that conclusion, is all I'm saying.
Okay.
Unless you're trying to say that every time someone uses the word union, that means that they're communists. The thing is union members join of their own free will, and they can leave of their own free will.
Wait a day from Highland. Hey, Craze.
Well, you sound better.
Well, I didn't feel bad. I never felt bad. I want everyone to know that.
Right.
I
know
never
you just
felt
didn't
bad.
sound so good.
I just didn't have a voice. But what's going on in your world? By the way,
Nothing.
you sound the same.
Thank you. The USSR was United Soviet Socialist Republic. And the Soviet Union meant the conglomeration of Soviet states, just like they did in the United States.
But they didn't belong to. They didn't belong to.
It's a union, as in a union of gathering a group together to a union. It had nothing to do with anything else other than that, and hence the USSR, United Soviet Socialist Republic.
Well, there was. Wait a second. We're going to get into a debate on this, because I know a little bit about this. Not a lot, but a little bit, and just enough to be dangerous, like we always say. There was something called the Supreme Soviet, which was what everything led to. Ultimately, I think the definition was changing, because the Soviet refers to councils or groups of people at every level, from the small level of government, etc. That's what the Soviet was. It's like our Hammond Common Council. They called it a Soviet.
Okay.
So the Union was originally that union as it pertained to the Soviet Union, which maybe is a loosely used term or not an official term, was related to the Soviets, which were the councils at the local, state, city level, whatever level it happened to be, all layering themselves, eventually getting to the Supreme Soviet, which was the King Farouk. That was Lenin and Stalin and those guys at the top. That's what I know about it, at least my interpretation. But your point is well taken as far as the union itself, that definition not being pertaining to the labor union movement. That's true. It wasn't pertaining to that. But I didn't say it was. What I said was that the term union is part of the communist name for their country. I did say that. The Mad Line. Hey, Mac.
Hey, last time I checked, when they had those 13 little colonies or counties or whatever you want to call them, way back when in the United States, to be calling them, they all kind of got together voluntarily. Soviet satellite places kind of got made to sign on the dotted line, like with a bayonet at their neck.
Well, that's what
so
communism
they did it
is.
Voluntarily.
Right.
And the other guy who called a half hour ago that says, oh, well, people voluntarily get in the union. No, they don't voluntarily get in the union. If you want the job, you got to get in the union as things stand now. So there's nothing voluntarily going on regarding unions, whether it's unions in the country or unions back historically in the Soviet Union.
And that's
why
correct.
I think Lech Walesa, I don't think he was like the chairman of the Soviet guys. He was kind of fighting against it seems, which is why he got his block knocked off every week out there, right?
Yeah, but I think he was a pretty big union guy. But they wanted to be their own union guy. Poland wanted to be their own union guy.
Right, because the union they were in, they didn't volunteer to be in.
That is correct. And let me reiterate or give you my explanation on that. Communism, the difference, and I've said it before, for crying out loud, aren't you guys paying attention? What do you think? I'm just here just to be famous? The difference between socialism and communism is a fist fight. The socialists walk willy-nilly and willingly into the arrangement, much like is happening right now in the United States of America, preceded by what has happened in Europe.